Let me start by just having you kind of tell them a little bit about yourself, Terrie, if that's okay.
Would you like the short version?
Sure, since we only have 20 minutes, because I want you to know you.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'll give a lot away by saying this because it ties into what our topic is about today. I entered the real estate industry in 1983, and I came in a shift. The interest rates were 16.5%. So much fun. Didn't know any different. Too young to know any different, right? And so I sold real estate for years. I got into some management, still had my real estate business running. Long story short, joined Keller Williams in 1996. Linda McKissick was in our first franchise training. And we were in there, Jimmy and Linda. There were maybe 12 of us in the room. I don't know. It was kind of fun and interesting. And went from being at a major company to Keller Williams where nobody really knew us. And I'm here because of what we're talking about today and this culture of sharing. We're a real estate community. And no matter where we're at, if we're not working together through this time to drive this business forward, that should be our goal. Work together wherever we are.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people say, why are you doing this for free, number one, and for two, to opening it to all brokerages? And I'm like, guys, we are in this together. I mean, we're all where we're at for a reason. We all love our broker. We all love, where we're at. And that's totally cool, because right now, though, we got to come together, because this is going to be a time where everybody needs each other. And the more value that we can all, soak up and go out and take more market share, that domino effect will help everybody.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's like I was a team leader for 16.5 years. I have 3 market centers across in Oklahoma and in Iowa. And I'm just watching and I coach about 50 people, and I'm watching all of them all over the country be at different spots in their world and with this whole opportunity that we've got right now. And it's pretty exciting, and we're just in different times, and it's time for all of us to learn from each other, learn what people in other states are doing, know that it's probably coming, and get 90 days ahead of this mentally. That's my goal.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Well, I would love for you to share with them the last tactic of the shift book, which is tactic number 12, and that's bulletproofing your transaction. And really, it's just talking about issues that we have and solutions. And you shared something with me that I just thought was so awesome. And so I don't know the best way to share it with them, but I'd love for you to just kind of take it away and share.
Okay. Well, one of the things that when I looked at bulletproofing and managing your transactions, my brain, with a lot of my recent background, with some training and coaching that I've been doing, it's more of not bulletproofing your transaction so much, but bulletproofing the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? And bulletproofing your mindset for what's going on. And, we need to look each other, whether you're an agent, whether you're in leadership, everybody around you should be we right now. This should be our industry, our community. We do this together. When you're working with a buyer or a seller through this time, make sure you're saying words like we, because we wouldn't be together if it weren't for we, right? And this is a little bit about the first topic in that shift chapter, is managing people's fear. And one of the things you've got to do is bring everybody together by using the right language. So if you're not using the word we and you're using I, start using we in everything we're doing. Is that the one thing that we were talking about? Because you and I talk about a lot. that we talked about addressing, because I can talk about managing fear quite a bit. So
yeah, well, and I know that you sent me the list of the bulletproofing transactions, and I do want to get to those, but I also do want you to talk a little bit about managing fear also.
Okay.
Because I just think it's so important. We're in uncharted territories, and yeah, we've been in shifts before, and yeah, we've been in a lot of different markets and all those type things, and I don't know that we've all ever been quarantined to our homes. So maybe talk just a little bit about that for a second.
It is in all of my years in this industry, like I said, this is probably my third or fourth shift. I don't know. And there are many of you out there that have never even experienced a shift. There's always a first though. And the first for me personally is that it hasn't involved sickness. Yeah. And it hasn't involved quarantine. I'm not that old, but it hasn't involved being quarantined, right? So this is a little different for me. Now, what I realize is I work mostly from a home office. And last week was kind of, okay, where are we going to be getting everything together? And do we move home? And are our buyers and sellers moving home? That was kind of last week. And then this week, it all started settling in. And now it's, how do we operate? How do they operate? What do our clients think right now? What are they feeling? And this is where we get the biggest advantage. The biggest opportunity that we have right now is to navigate what they're feeling. And fear is not a bad thing. Fear is given to us. Fear is something that helps us, our brain either protects us, helps us protect ourselves, or it causes us to run from it. And what we want to do is pull that side of our brain and the side of our clients or customers' brain into thinking they're protected right now. We've got to give them some form of blanket that goes over them to make them feel better. And the best way that you guys can do about that is to just be great listeners. Come from contribution. The way you manage fear is all in how you listen to what people are saying. Fear is nothing more than probably a piece of baggage from the past because they haven't dealt with something really great then, and they're not going to deal with it really great now until you open up their mind to be thinking differently. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So managing fear or managing the relationship is you handling what they're thinking and what they're telling you. And if they tell you how they feel, question that. Just say, tell me more about that. Or say, fear, what makes you fearful? Or just come at them with, I'm just checking on you today, you and your family. What questions do you have about what's going on in our market, right? And that's more of a database call. So I would say managing fear is nothing more than recognizing it, understanding where it came from, not asking you to be a psychologist, just ask questions, understanding fear, where it came from, and then to go deep with them on how you can work together.
Yep. Okay. I think that is awesome. Okay. Talk a little bit about motivation. If you don't care about that, just in kind of managing and bulletproofing a transaction, and then around motivation.
Dig into what they're thinking kind of goes into the motivation. Like I said about fear, understand what their motivation is. You guys are operating in a place where sellers that had to sell may not have to sell now. You're operating in a place where buyers that had to buy may be holding back because of fear. What is their true motivation? And did you really find out what that motivation was when you first built the relationship with a client? So dig back into the motivation, meaning they have their house on the market and now they think they don't want to sell. Go back and readdress what their motivation is and what would it look like if they went ahead and went through it. The last thing we want to do is put our motivation on the client. This is not your story. This is their story. So really isolate their motivation and keep it. And it could be something where you could push the transaction out a bit, right?
Yeah.
But just find out what their fear is around the motivation.
Yeah. I think it was Linda that said yesterday, I'm pretty sure it was Linda, or I don't know. I've talked to so many different people now, but I think she said something around a seller who had an 84-year-old elderly person in their home.
She did.
And
yep.
said they and that's where a time where you might not script that person. I mean, this is real life. So that's just
this is for most of us that want to drive something or sell something or get on the other side of something, we go into convincing and selling mode. This is not a time to convince people otherwise. It's okay for us to bulletproof our conversation and make sure we're hitting all the high points, but this is not the time to place our what we think that should be done on them, our belief on them. Absolutely not. So be respectful. I think that's the word. And I think that's what Linda was getting at when she was talking about that. Be respectful of everyone's situations.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so number 1 was manage fear. Number 2 is motivation. Number 3 is state regulations. And I don't want to talk a lot about that because just go know your state regulations.
Oh my gosh. I do want to say quickly, know your state regulations, and they change overnight. So do not let that put you in fear. Do not, I bet your offices have places for you to go and ask the questions. Don't think that you can do something if you don't know for sure. And even if it's not a state regulation, this goes back to respecting each other, right? If your office says don't come in, don't go in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't. Maybe respect each other.
Yeah. Well, number 4 actually gave me an aha. So I really want you to touch on this. Number 4 is all about the rainmaker.
Yeah. It's all about you. Whether you're a rainmaker or not, it's all about you. I could have my admin call all of my clients and say, hey, Terrie wants to know how you're feeling.
Right.
That's not the time for this. This is the time for the rainmaker and for you as the agent to pick up the phone and make those calls, and role play with people. I mean, that was something that stood out to me. We've gone away from role playing. Everyone has the perfect time now to role play first thing in the morning. And when you role play, role play how you're respecting their decisions and you're respecting their motivation, and go back to role playing that we language and the our language. This is a good time to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, what about suspending a transaction? What would you say about that? That's number 5 in bulletproofing your transaction.
Okay, and so when we're talking about suspending something, we're moving more towards not canceling, right? Not getting out of the relationship, not canceling the transaction, suspending it for now, possibly so that it can be done in 90 days or 60 days or 120 days, whatever that looks like. The first thing you need to do is escalate everything you can. Yeah. Anything that's approved, anything that's cash, escalate that. And then the things where people are being a little uncomfortable, suspend. And it might be that you do put things on hold until they feel better. And then you've got a weekly check-in with people. How are you feeling now? Don't be afraid to check in very, very often, because a week from now, we could be back and running for all we know. I mean, there's some places, respectfully, we know are having some difficult times. But be creative on your suspensions and know the scripts. There's some really great scripts out there right now for buyers and sellers on suspending what's happening. Yeah. And just work closely with them and make it a win-win, right? Just make it a win-win.
Yeah, and actually number 9 is win-win or no deal on this list.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to touch on that one. Okay, gosh, we just don't have enough time. Okay, really quickly.
Oh, okay.
Number 6, vendors, that's kind of an easy one. Go find your best vendor partners. 7 is sequences change. And 8 is triple checking. We talked about that a little bit already on someone else, just this isn't the time for error. But what I want to get to really, the 9 is win-win or no deal, but 10 is what I really want you to spend some time on, because in my opinion, what you're awesome at. And 10 for the 10, point 10 for bulletproofing your transaction is build relationships. And I know we've talked on this, but I want you to hear it from Terrie. So talk to us about building relationships.
How much time do I have? I don't even, I watch my clock.
Like,
make sure I don't.
Like 4 to 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I was thinking 1 or 2. And I don't want to talk so fast that I'm talking beyond people. I want to be really conscientious about that. Well, we can tie number 6, vendor relationships, into number 10.
Oh, great idea.
Right? Because vendors you want to make sure that you are in alignment with people that believe the way you do, right? You want to be in alignment with people that are respectful of what the state is telling you to do. You want to be in alignment with what the market center, the office is telling you what to do, and that they aren't pushing people beyond their respect for their situation, right? So one great thing to do would be to have a conversation with your vendors, right? Lenders, title companies, inspectors, appraisers, and say, this is how I've chosen to operate during this time, and bring everybody into relationship that way. How you show up like this in times like this is magnified. I mean, it's magnified because we are so visible right now on Facebook, on any social media, not just Facebook. We're visible, and what we do is going to be magnified. So when you're dealing with people who may be dealing with fear or isolation, possibly even onset of depression, some of those things that are going to be coming up, everything you say is going to be magnified and blown out of proportion and probably misinterpreted.
Yeah.
So when you're building relationships, you want to make sure that when you've made a statement and you get an answer, you're repeating that back to them. So here's what I'm hearing you say, right? Are we in agreement here? Is that correct? And make sure you are getting agreement with them. That's the most important thing about right now in building relationships. But also being a professional demonstrates that as well. This is where emotional intelligence comes in just a little bit, and I do a lot of training on that. If you don't understand emotional intelligence, look it up. Dana, I can be a resource if I need to be. When you are professional, you're showing you care. In fact, there are 3 things your people need from you in your relationship. They need to know you care, number 1. We're in the act of caring. We're in the care stage right now. Care and get people where they need to be as soon as we can based on what they need. They need to know they can trust you. So once you show you care, they're going to hope that they can trust you, and you're going to show them that you can trust them, what they can trust you, whether it's returning an email or sending them something, whatever that is, that's a form of trust. Develop that trust. And then the third thing is once you care and once you trust, they're going to know that you're going to get them what they need. And you're going to respect them, even if right now in this time it's to suspend what's going on and put things on hold. We got people that have lost jobs. We've got people that are furloughed now. I heard Apple did a big furlough 2 days ago. Yeah. So we've got all of that going on. Show people that you care, trust, and that you can help them where they're going.
Yeah. Okay.
Make everything a win-win. It can't just be a win for you and not a win for them.
Okay, Terrie, a couple quick questions. And this was a good one for Ralph. I know we're just a minute past time, but we still have like almost 300 people watching. So how do we start the conversation so that we don't have our clients questioning our motivation?
Oh my gosh, I've dealt with this all week, Ralph. That's a great question. If they know you, they're going to trust you enough to know you're coming from contribution, right? If they don't, that call should be easily, or that dialogue should be very easy. It should just be, hey, this is Terrie, and I am checking on you. I'm checking on you and your family, and all I want to do today is be sure that you have all the questions that you need about what's going on in our community and our industry. Would that be okay for us to talk for a few minutes?
Yep. Love it.
That's what I've been doing. So.
Yeah. What about, Sue said, a script for a 600,000 plus seller who wants to wait to list until this virus thing blows over? And we've been getting a lot of that, actually.
Yeah. So in fact, I just heard this. We were role playing this on a call before this. So tell me what specifically would cause you to want to wait. Dive into that, why you want to wait thing. Is it they're afraid of the values going down? Are they afraid of the interest rates going up? What are they afraid of, right? You understand there's a lot of things they could be. Are they afraid their appraisal won't come back? Mm-hmm. Address their individual fears. Don't just say, oh, no, don't be afraid. Ask why. Say, great. You know what? I understand. Number 1, I understand. What specifically makes you afraid? What makes you feel that way?
I love that, Terrie, and Stephanie just posted what I was getting ready to say, that a lot of sellers have been saying that they're afraid of germs right now. And I'm like, this is the perfect time to let them know, that you'll be present there, or they'll, if you can, in your state, that to take precautions and let people know you'll have gloves, you'll have Clorox wipes, all those things. Because sometimes they just need to hear the reminder and make them to feel better around the germ situation.
Well, they are actually too, in some states, they can't even go in. So they are literally doing the virtual, they're having the seller take the phone, and they're walking through with the buyer and seller on the phone, like on a Zoom call or a FaceTime.
Yeah.
And if not, we're selling properties. I think Linda mentioned it yesterday. We're selling properties without people looking right now. And you can always create documents that say you get the opportunity to look before you close or something, right? Be creative, be creative. And yes, germs are real. And I want you guys to make sure you respect that. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, man, sorry we're a couple minutes late, guys. Terrie,
sorry.
I could listen to you all day. So this was awesome. Thank you for taking the time to come on and share. Thanks for
You bet.
closing us out. Thanks for doing it on your birthday and for all the value that you bring. How can people find you? And then I know you have a podcast, so tell them about that.
Oh, thank you. You can find me by emailing me at Terrie, Terrie, at kw.com. Our website is mattersofinfluence.com. That's my shirt I have on, mattersofinfluence.com. And that is also the name of our podcast. Debbie Frapp and I, my coaching partner, started it as fun, and now it's more than fun.
It's amazing.
We just launched another one on your financial systems matter yesterday. It'll come out tonight. So it's all about financial health.
Wait for that one for sure. So, okay, guys, go follow Terrie. Terrie, thank you so much. Have a great birthday. I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks for sharing.
I'm sure you will. You guys have a great time. Take advantage of this opportunity, because in June, July, and August, we're not going to know what to do with ourselves.